Good morning. How exciting this has been at St. Mark's to wake up every morning and start reading passages from Luke and Acts and knowing that all over the world, Episcopalians are reading and talking about these same passages. We're reading here in Acts about early church history. And in fact, this week, we'll be studying Paul's second and third journeys. Really amazing adventures. And we'll also see how the same things that Paul encounters, same difficulties we encounter every day, now today, in our own life. As you read this week's passage, I'm going to recommend that you look at one of these maps, early maps of Paul's journeys, because it makes a lot more sense as you can kind of follow where he is as he goes along this journey. This week we're going to start in northern Greece, in Philippi, and actually this is where Christianity comes to Europe. Paul is bringing Christianity to Europe the first time here in Philippi. And then we'll follow him all week along the Aegean Sea down to Corinth and to Athens, and then on to another journey where we meet a lot of these same places that he visits. One exciting part is that in the 11th verse of this 16th chapter, Luke changes from the third person to we. Instead of talking about Paul in the third person, he's talking. So we know now for sure that Luke is probably with him. And also it emphasizes to us our ministry always, we minister. Notice also, as you go along, how Paul adapts to the people that he visits. Compare his sermon earlier that you talked about in Antioch, where Paul preached to Jews and how Jesus was fulfilling the Jewish promise, and how he talks to the people in Athens, Greeks, where he's trying to tell them that Jesus is that unknown God, that Jesus fulfills that promise to the Greeks. So think about this, that when you're talking to people about Jesus, learn about what their tradition is so that you can fit what your tradition in with ours, and so you can find some commonality. Paul is giving us a great example of this. Notice that Paul is going to be attacked twice during these passages when what he does interferes with business as usual. In Philippi, he heals a fortune teller, and then in Ephesus, the silversmiths get upset with him because the people who are converting to Christianity no longer need those little statues of Artemis, who is the goddess of Ephesus. Think about when does our Christianity interfere with business as usual? We're going to hear some beautiful stories this week and some really funny stories. We'll see Paul singing in prison, and where he converts the jailers and their families. And then there's that amazing story of the young man who's sitting in a window while Paul preaches and one of his very long sermons, and that young man falls asleep and falls out of the window, and of course Paul goes and heals him. Then in Corinth, Paul is going to meet Priscilla and Aquila, and this is a couple from Rome who've come because of the persecution. They are tent makers, and Paul stays with them and gets to know them for a year and a half, and they become very major disciples. And they are going to follow Paul on to Ephesus, and they stay in Ephesus while Paul goes on for the rest of his. So we're going to end this week as Paul returns and is on his way back to Jerusalem, and there's going to be a whole lot more to come.